German police investigating the disappearance of Madeleine McCann are carrying out new searches in Portugal this week. The 3-year-old went missing from a holiday apartment in Praia de Luz in the Algarve in 2007. The prime suspect in the investigation is Christian Bruckner, who is serving a prison sentence in Germany for the rape of an elderly woman in the same area of Portugal. Daniel Sanford is near the search site just to the east of Praia de Luz, and he has this update for us.
German authorities have launched a new search for missing child Madeleine McCann, but don't let the mention of Christian Bruckner in that report discourage you. Even though he's clearly not involved in that part of the search as a wild goose chase, this search might still turn up some golden eggs. So in today's video, let's watch this BBC report and I'll show you why. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation, so if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For exclusives, early access, and other cool perks, become a channel member. Link in description. Madeleine McCann is arguably the world's most famous missing child, and she's a subject of my most popular video on YouTube. So before we watch this BBC report, rather than recapping the case because I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with it, here's a quick recap of my opinion of the case, just so you understand why I think that this search is misguided, but might still turn up some good evidence. In my opinion, based on my analysis, I believe that Madeleine was accidentally killed by her mother, Kate, by oversedation, most likely, right? So Kate gave her a sedative or too much sedative. Madeleine died. And then Madeleine's parents, Kate and Jerry, hid the body somewhere cold, or like a crevice, a cave, the ocean. Or a few videos ago, we started getting into the concept of wells. I think it was a tragedy. I think Madeleine was accidentally killed. And then the parents decided to cover it up to avoid potentially something as small as the embarrassment of looking like negligent parents to something as serious as being arrested in Portugal and having their 2 other children, twins, taken away from them into foster care while they're in a Portuguese prison. So that's been my theory for over a year now, that the parents are responsible for Madeleine's death because of neglect or recklessness, and that they hid her body to protect themselves in the most efficient way they could, most likely down a well. But that doesn't mean I haven't tested my theory against others. For instance, I looked into Christian Bruckner a year ago when the Germans first announced that they think he kidnapped Madeleine McCann, and their case was completely lacking. Rather than getting evidence and then finding a suspect, they found a suspect, and now they're still out here looking for evidence. More recently, I debunked the claims of Julia Wandel, a Polish hoaxer or schizophrenic who claims to be Madeleine McCann. The closest theories to my own are that of friend of the channel Pat Brown and frenemy of the channel Bert Stellander, except I don't think Madeleine was buried because I think that's completely impractical, which is why I think, as morbid as it may sound, Jerry either put her down a well or into a crevasse or into the ocean. In extreme situations, people are capable of doing extreme things. All right, without further ado, let's watch.
Daniel Sanford is near the search site just to the east of Praia de Luz, and he has this update for us.
Well, just to give you an idea of the geography, we're standing on a road that leads from Lagos in that direction to Praia de Luz in that direction. And Praia de Luz was the resort where Madeleine McCann went missing 18 years ago when she was 3 years old. She disappeared from a room in a holiday apartment where her family were staying. And just behind me is a road leading down to the sea. And this is very much the focus of the search today. You can see there's Portuguese police blocking entrance to that road, but what we've seen is 4 vehicles carrying German police heading down that road, and they're the specialist search team that have come in from Germany. We've also seen a Portuguese fire engine going down that road, and that's in case the German police need to pump out any old wells as part of their search. German police have got permission through the European search warrant system from the Portuguese prosecutor to go onto private land, to search on private land, and there seems to be a focus around a disused farmhouse as part of the focus today. We've seen a large blue tent that German police have set up as their base for the search operation this week. They've said that they'll be searching today through until Friday.
As I said in the intro, this search is bittersweet. The bitter, it's short, and it's centered around someone who clearly did not kidnap Madeleine McCann because she wasn't kidnapped. The sweet part is they now have access to private property and they're actively pumping wells, something I've never heard of before in this search and something I've been asking for over a year. But it gets more bitter and more sweet, so let's keep watching.
They've said that they'll be searching today through until Friday, so it's 4 days of searching. We've not been told of any specific intelligence that the Germans are basing their search on. But we do know that Christian Bruckner, the man that they say is their main suspect in what they call a murder investigation into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, is due for release from prison in September, or possibly, if he doesn't pay a fine, until early 2026. So less than a year for German police and prosecutors to get enough evidence to bring a charge against Christian Bruckner and to put him on trial. And I think that's probably the main reason for the searching this week, not necessarily because they've got any very specific intelligence, but they felt that they needed to come back and do another search through the disused buildings, through the deep wells and water tanks and so on in this area. The last time German police were in the Algarve, they were very focused on a reservoir that's quite some distance from here, and that was because that was a place that Christian Bruckner was known to go and camp, and that was a very specific focus search. This seems to be a much more generalised search this week, and it'll go on until Friday.
That's the latest from Praia de Luz with Daniel Sanford.
Once again, bittersweet. The bitter part is that they have zero intel about what happened to Madeleine, and this is a wild goose chase. But ironically, that's also the sweet part, because now they're searching more generally, rather than just places where Christian Bruckner lived or hung out, which was always misguided no matter what they say. And I'll link one of my videos breaking down their case against Christian on the end card, so you can see why for yourself.
That's the latest from Praia de Luz with Daniel Sanford. Let's bring you more on the investigation. We can take you live to Berlin and join our correspondent there, Jess Parker. Jess, this is one of the world's highest profile unsolved missing person cases. So much interest in this case again, and a lot resting on the German police. What is the latest that they're saying?
Yeah, you're right. A lot is resting on the German police. It was 5 years ago that German authorities identified publicly Christian Bruckner, or sometimes referred to as Christian B at the time, as a suspect in the case. Daniel was just saying German investigators have classed this as a murder inquiry. However, in the 5 years since Christian Bruckner emerged as a he has never been charged, and he, as we've been reflecting, denies involvement in the case. Timing, I think, now is very important for the German authorities here.
Once the clock runs out on the German prosecutors here, that will be yet another bittersweet situation. Bitter because Christian Bruckner is probably a monster, but also sweet because I don't think he did anything to Madeleine, so we can finally put this red herring to rest. If you want more like this, let me know by liking and commenting below. Check the end card for my video debunking the case against Christian B. Until next time, stay true.